Far to the west, where the great mountains face the North Pacific Ocean, lived a young mountain eagle named Skemshan. His home was in the great trees, but he often flew out over the misty islands where the Haida Indians lived. These Indians lived in clans. The eagle, Skemshan, knew the clans by the tall poles called totems. One evening, Skemshan, old chief, carving a totem by the front of his lodge. The chief was telling the children of how one day the eagle helped man regain the moon and the sun when the wicked raven stole them. Many years ago, a young prince named Gas, which means March moon, left his father's lodge to seek adventure. Sitting in a nearby tree was Skemshan, the eagle. "I am seeking adventure. Come with me," said the prince. And they went through the tall trees to a pool by the home of Kilas, the bear. "Kilas, do you know what we might do to show how strong and brave we are?" Gas asked the bear. But the bear was too busy fishing for quanis, the salmon, to answer, and just continued to splash. When the water quieted, Gas saw the reflection of the moon in the pool. "That will be our adventure. We shall catch the moon." The young prince placed an arrow in the magic bow of his grandfather, and he shot the arrow straight upwards. And it whistled through the sky and landed in the moon. Gas then launched a second arrow, which caught in the notch of the first. All in all, the young prince shot 365 arrows, one for each day in the year. This long line of arrows made a ladder which Gas climbed and climbed and climbed. And the eagle, Skemshan, flew beside his friend until they found themselves standing on the moon. Gas gathered his arrows and again shot them across the sky, making a new ladder to the sun. He then took the moon and the sun under each arm, climbed on the back of the eagle, Skemshan, and soared downwards to his island home. Proudly, the young prince showed these shining treasures to his father, who placed them carefully in the lodge. The old chief was very pleased with his son and gave a great feast before the eagle was to return the sun and moon to the sky. When the villagers were feasting, the raven, Nikilslas, flew silently to the roof of the lodge. Peering down through the smoke hole, Nikilslas saw the shining wonders of the heavens. "I must have them. I must have them," he croaked. The raven slipped through the roof hole, snatched up the sun and the moon, and flew away. Across the mountains soared Nikilslas until he reached his hidden cave. The raven carried his stolen treasures into the cave and tried to hide them in some boxes he had taken from the tribe. The moon fitted nicely into one box, but the sun was too large for the other. In anger, he threw the sun at the box, and the sun broke, and small pieces scattered from its sides. "Now it will fit," Nikilslas said, and he shoved it into the box. Then he gathered the sun's glowing pieces left, and he hid them in a third box. Now the world was in darkness, and everyone was sad. The prince and his people began a long, dark search for the raven's home. At the foot of the highest mountain, the prince met the eagle. "Skemshan, please help us find the sun and the moon," he asked. The eagle flew off over the high cliffs, soared across the mountain peaks, searching. Suddenly, Skemshan saw a light shining from a distant mountain, and he knew he had found the raven's cave. Carefully, he peeked into the smoke hole, and he saw the raven guarding the stolen treasures. Skemshan dived into the cave and wrestled with the wicked Nikilslas. When the eagle had overcome the raven, he raised the lid of the first box, and the sun rose up through the smoke hole. He lifted the lid of the second box, and the moon rose up into the sky. Finally, Skemshan opened the third box, and the little pieces of the sun drifted upwards and became stars, filling the heavens with light. everyone was happy to see their rightful places. So that to this day, the old chief sits at the bottom of the totem with his son, the prince, then the salmon and the bear. Next is the raven, and at the top, Skemshan, the eagle who became the sign of peace and goodwill. And that is a story of how the eagle put the sun and moon back into the sky.